What's going on, everyone? Air here, and like you can see here, well, before that, I was debating if I should, put a webcam for this video, but I felt like if I don't put it here, it'll be very awkward, because you'll be only looking at this screen, and I guess just, can add some quality to it. Anyways, I also debated because I needed a haircut, I think. I mean, at this time, there's no barber, no hair salon. So, well, my wife will be cutting my hair in the next couple of days, and I'll definitely be uploading that on YouTube. So, hopefully that'll be a good entertainment for you guys. So, anyway, so there's a tier list. Like here, it says Langrisser Secret Realm Gear tier list. So, when I did those videos, of a breakdown of these equipment there, I did say I'm going to make a tier list. So I kind of forgot about it, and it was okay, now I have time, so I'm going to do it. So anyway, so I'm going to go in order here. I don't know if you can see this. Well, this is my alt account, that's why nothing is bought. So I'm going to go in order, and we'll take a look. So the first one here is L1 Special. So this one here, I put it in different tiers. So Godlike means Godlike, of course. Godlike, but there's a reason why it's not up here, but down here. So effect restricted would be something like requires blah 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 to be in position, requires no ally near you or something. And meh is like their replacement. Some SSR equipment might be a little bit better. And not worth the controller is exactly what the meaning is here. Not worth the controller. So we're going to start in order. So what we have here is L1 Special, the sword. So the sword here is attack plus 10%. And when dealing skill damage, 30% chance to decrease cooldown by 5 turns. So it sounds really good. Where you guys didn't watch those videos. In the outro, I'll link those 2 videos there. You guys can take a look. So here's saying when dealing skill damage, so you have to deal skill damage, right? So if you don't deal skill damage, it's only a regular sword with 10% attack. So there's so many more swords that can do better. So the selling point is here, chance to decrease cooldown by 5 turns. So I think 30%, it's not very high, and it's really RNG, so you really need to count on luck. And 10% of attack is not as good as other swords out there. When for L1 there can be swords such as Steel Guardian, which also plus 5% defense, and then there's also the Dragon Slayer, whatever the sword name is. That one gives you HP and 8% damage, so it's decent, but I feel like there are replacements, so I'm going to put this one over here. I mean, some people don't agree, maybe because I don't use L1, I don't see how useful this is, but when I think if you have to rely on RNG, then it's not very, very good. So next one we have Golden Lion here, which is D-Heart's helmet here. When eliminating magic defense plus 10%, and when eliminating an enemy on this turn, stuns one enemy within 3 blocks for 1 turn after taking action. I think the effect is really, really good. Unfortunately, you can dispel it. So magic defense plus 10% is really whatever for D-Heart, especially he is in Saxon and Cavalry class, so he doesn't really need the magic defense. He's gonna get killed by magic anyways, 1 shot. So stuns one enemy within 3 blocks. 3 blocks is very, very far. So I think Golden Lion is actually very good when you use it in PvE. Apex is also very good, but now you're restricted to use the move again passive. So now you lost 1, because if you don't, you basically have to stand there and randomly stun the target that's in 3 slots next to you. 3 range, sorry. So if you have move again here, when attacking, damage increases by 10%. If remaining mobility is not 0, can move again. So there's some restriction. It's good, and there's restriction. and you can dispel it. But I think it's a very good equipment, but I have to really say the effect is really restricted. So now you lose one skill, and now you have to make sure you're in range. What if you're not in range? Then the helmet is just giving you plus 10% magic defense. So now we're gonna look at Black Bride. Black Bride is Lana's. Lana's I think is really good because it's before entering battle. The HP plus 5% is already good, I think. It's not as good as Tenyo, that plus 10%, but the effect is a little bit different. And before entering battle, it inflicts one random powerful debuff. So I think that's really, really good. Does it regardless, whoever you fight, as long as before battle. If it's not AoE, then you apply a debuff for an enemy. So this one is godlike, 100%. Okay. So we have Imelda's lipstick here. And magic defense plus 10%. And after taking action, makes 4 allies within 2 blocks immune to fixed damage. Okay, so this one here is, I think, is really good. Mainly because she it's because her effect, her passive, her talent requires everyone to take fixed damage to themselves before they get the effect of. So I have to actually look for that description here. So Imelda requires to have Iron Hand. Yes, Queen's Gauntlet, that's the name. So unit damage increased by 20%. After taking action, cast Iron Hand on 4 friendly units within 2 blocks. Heroes damage increases by 20%, but they lose 10 HP%. So now this one you don't lose any HP. So I would definitely put it on this because it's on her already, and she will always proc this effect on allies. So I think it's really, really good. So Kizuna band here, it's Matthew's Reign here. And when an ally is within 2 blocks, increases attack, defense, and magic defense by 10%. Very, very godlike. And I would probably put it at effect restricted, because now if you don't have ally within 2 blocks, this thing is meaningless, which means there's no. Well, the good thing is that it actually adds attack stats, HP and attack, which Matthew really needs. But again, if there's no ally, the effect doesn't proc, so it's very restricted. And especially you have to use classes like Hero. I use Hero, so I find it very, very useful. PvE, you should find this really, really useful because you will be sticking with your tank, because there's enemy phase and player phase, so you always move all your 5, 6, 7 units first, and then the enemy does. But when it comes to Apex, there's a lot of variation, so there's sometimes you just can't control how you want it to be. So this one will put it at effect restricted. So we have Ultimator's Crown here, and this one gives you 2 effect, defense and magic defense with 5%, and buffs you've cast on yourself last for 1 more turn. That's really, really good. Regardless that you are, first you get extra effect already, so 2 effect, and now if you get like Breeze, if you get like your faction buff, now you have 1 extra turn. So you have more, you're more flexible. So sometimes, let's say, oh, now I don't have to faction buff myself because I still have like maybe a turn or 2 turns with my power. Then I'm just going to attack or something. So this one I would say godlike. So next one here is Sonya's special here. Okay, this one here I have, so attack and intelligence plus 10%. So all the other stuff I explained in the video, and again, you can check it out. So I think this one is godlike, but you have to use it with 3C. Because if you don't use it with 3C, you can't trigger the. There's 2 effects there, but you can't trigger the other one. So I would say godlike, but requires to use 3C. Alright, next we have Juggler's Gift. Okay, no question asked. This is godlike. This is really godlike. There's only 3 heroes on top of my head that can counter this, which is Sakura, Listo, and Hiei. And that's, if there's no reverse healing, this thing can't be countered, and this ignores the cost limit of skills, which means you can, if you don't awaken your juggler, you have six skill costs, yes. And then when 3C comes out, you have 7. So this one is definitely the best. So Fairy Wings here is very good, and it add 5% intelligence, and after attacking it can move 2 more blocks. So a mage that is like Leon, so I would say godlike. And now you can kind of control how you set her bombs, especially when Liffany, oh sorry, this is for Liffany, and when this one is 6 stars, you can plant 2 bombs. So now you have better control, like who you want it to be on. Okay, next one is Rachel's special here, HP plus 5%. This one, when hit with a melee attack and entering battle, deals fixed damage to the enemy 1 time. So equal of the hero's intelligence. Honestly, it doesn't matter. Like I said in the video before, this one is worthless. There's just so many better SSR out there. We're talking about maybe even Death Robe can do a better job. Not Death Robe, Dark Robe, the bad looking robe where you increase HP and magic defense plus 5%. That's 2 effects rather than just 1 effect. And like I said in that video before, if you get hit, you're pretty much gonna die. It won't really help you much here. And then next we have Farsight, which is Emrix. Emrix is first one of my most favorite SR hero there, and it's actually got like, first it's at 10% HP. So HP is a big deal for tank in my opinion. And after taking action, causes all enemies within 2 block radius to receive a random debuff. And this thing is 100% guaranteed. You cannot counter it. You will receive the debuff. There's just so many debuff out there that you can't immune, prevent it from happening. And it's 2 block radius. And if you're using Horse Emric, which you should be, that's really easy to get into the 2 range radius, and I will put this as godlike. So we have 1-up here. 1-up, which is Sherry's equipment. Sherry's gear is really good. The effect, defense plus magic defense, defense and magic defense plus 5%, and when attacking, entering battle, if you take fatal damage, you will not die. So you will not die. You basically 100% can revive, but only if you attack. You attack, you die, you're revived, but you only have 1 HP. And this one is only perfect if you use it with 3C, which again I explained in the video, so make sure you check it out in the outro of this video. And this one's very restricted effect, so you now have to first use 3C and you have to attack. So next we have Heinz, which is this one here. I think this one is really good. I think it's godlike because you first now add 5% HP. So mage is usually HP rather than defense in my opinion. Using either magic defense or HP. And then now the hero talent buff stacks plus 1. It's really good, but then I think his stack is 4 stacks. But then so you basically have to wait 4 stacks and then you get the 5th stack. And gain Princess Alliance fusion power effect. So it's perfect if you use Princess Alliance, but if you don't use Princess, then this one is pretty much only giving you an extra stack, which is still very, very good. It makes him so much stronger, so I would put this godlike, but if you don't use Princess Alliance, then it's pretty much pointless. Okay, so we have Chiffonios. Chiffonios is here. So this one is magic plus 10%, magic defense plus 10%, and 30% chance after taking action to gain 1 skill range and 1 lifespan. Well, plus 1 span. So again, this one's a little bit RNG. But I gotta tell you, I think it's godlike. Even though there's RNG, but even without it, because a 10% magic defense is very useful for a mage, and it's a helmet. So I really think this is godlike, and once it triggers, your AoE can just spam it over and over again, because she can spam it already with her talent, and now with this, when it procs, it's going to be very, very scary, because now you have stronger AoE that you can spam. So for L1, why I put that? Because L1 already has 2 really strong skills, and for PvE, I don't think you need to use it every single time. But for PvP, if you don't use the skills, Sword, Soul, and Frontal Assault, I think that's the name, but they're already so strong. That's 2 skills that you should be able to one-shot your enemies, and there's only, unless you're playing like what, 3 tanks or something, but you should be able to one-shot almost everything with, you know, those skills. But that's 2 targets that you can one-shot. So without the proc, I think it will do the work. But and most people use Ragnarok anyways, Lance Elwyn, when it comes to Apex. Oh, that's my reason why I think it's not that good. So you have, now we have Bamboo Hat here, which is Kirikaze. So defend and magic defense plus 1%, plus 5%. Honestly, that one is whatever, because he is squishy as hell, and he's gonna die to mage and maybe horse. When unit is at 100% HP, gains plus 30% skills. This one is actually really godlike, but you have to be unit at 100%. Though there's a little bit of restriction, but it's not a big deal, because every time he attacks, he should be able to recover full HP. But again, if he's not at 100% HP, then it's pretty hard. And especially when it comes to Apex, there's a lot of AoE going on, so there's a chance that he might not get that effect. So I still think it's really, really good, because it now makes his crit almost 100%. So I put it at godlike, but you can't get hit by AoE. Okay, now we have Lanford. Oh, Lanford is 100% the best godlike, especially if you have Lanford at 6%, not 6%, 6 stars. So defend plus 10%. That's already really good for a infantry or a cavalry. And then hero talent span plus 1. So his hero talent span, no, hero talent is, sorry, I wanted to burp. I just ate dinner. Okay, hero span is, not hero span, hero talent is increase all status of friendly units within 2 blocks. So now with the helmet, it's within 3 blocks. And plus 15%, everything plus 15%. So imagine when Lanford is 3 range, you know, next to you, not 3 range next to you, 3 range around you, you have 3 Overlord badge equipped. So you know how your hero has only 4 slots. So now you're gonna add 3 more slots, and they're all Overlord badge. So that's very, very strong. Well, of course, it doesn't give you the immune to all those debuff, but then now your stats is plus so much. So that one, I think, is godlike. So yeah, we have Crown of Thorns here, and people are not really happy with, well, I wasn't even happy with my own analysis for the Freya's crown, because I totally forgot that she has a whatchamacallit, a class, Valkyrie class, where she requires magic defense. So that's totally my fault, lack of research. So I think this one is really good. It's godlike, but she has to be in a Valkyrie class, I think. Otherwise, her magic defense is not that high to make this very scary. So I'm going to read this out. So magic defense plus 10% before being forced into battle deals fixed damage to the enemy equal to 2 times the hero's magic defense. So that's good, but you need to be in Valkyrie class. So next we have the Dildo, which is Elmeda's. So Elmeda's, I think this is very good. Well, plus 10%, but then it gives you 2 extra debuff, which is mobility by 1 block, well, minus mobility by 1 block, and renders them unable to guard for 1 turn. I think renders them to enable, so Reduce enemies' mobility by 1 block. I think that one you can. There's immunity for that reduction, but I think unable to guard. I don't know if that one is. I should research this honestly, but I think the unable to guard only triggers if the enemy doesn't have the mobility immune. So otherwise, then the renders them unable to guard won't proc. So I think it's good, but again, you have to make sure they don't. I think the shittiest thing is that it only lasts 1 turn. So first, in PvE is very good because now you can bypass all those tanks. Then you can hit the squishy, the one that threatens you the most, the DPS. The shitty thing is that it's only plus 10% intelligent, so it's still very good. I think most of the staffs, the wands or staff, whatever, they're usually plus 10%. But I think for Apex it's not strong enough because it only renders them unable to guard for 1 turn. Which means you really have to enemies, teams, tank and healer needs to act first. Otherwise, if you, for example, if the other side has like a tank and I am using a meta, I cast myself in a meta, now the tank cannot guard. But then it's the enemy's face where the tank can just not do anything, stand is like not do anything and wait for the turn, or maybe just do whatever. The tank is going to act first, and then now the renders them unable to guard for 1 turn. It's gone because that is the 1 turn. So it's not very effective. So I would say godlike, but not good enough. It's very good though. Okay, so now we have Leden's. Okay, Leden's one is, without a doubt, I think it's very effect restricted, which first you get less defense and magic defense % compared to Oath of Justice, which you can get for free. And after killing an enemy, you have to kill an enemy in order to die, get another life after you die. So apparently this one you can, I didn't buy myself, so this effect can only trigger once per 2 turns. So that's pretty good, but you always have to kill someone to get this effect. So I have to, yeah, so I think if you kill someone and then die, I think that's pretty rare. Even in PvP, I think if you kill someone, you should be alive. I think it's very hard to trade kills with Leden. So there's that. I'm not too sure, honestly, this one, but I'll put it at effect restricted because it sounds very restricted. But don't quote me on that. It might be very useful when he has 3C. Okay, this one is very, very debatable. So we have Angelina's. My analysis in the video wasn't like that great, but I still stand my point. I still think that there are better replacements out there. Mainly because I've been watching a lot of Season 4 Apex videos of the playoffs, and most of the time the Angelina, they try to get in as soon as possible and kill the one that threatened them the most. The squishy ones like the mage, like the healer. So what they would usually do is use alternate. That's 1 act again. Tito Surge, that's the second one. And then there's also the 3C, which is the third one, which I missed saying, explaining that in the video. But most of the time people would do either one, alternate or Tito Surge. And they'll use their 3C and kill a squishy. And then usually after they kill the squishy, unfortunately they'll die. Because you're just too deep in. And I think if you're not too deep in, there's not really a point to use the 3C. So if you use the 3C, you should commit and kill someone. Otherwise you're going to use the 3C just to blow him away. And that's really kind of defeats the purpose of using it. And a lot of people use all these act again stuff to cool down the 3C, which I think is useful when it comes to the special gear, because now you have extra faction buff. But I think if you're going to go in, which every single match when I see an Angelina. They use alternate, they use Tito Surge, 3C, and kill the squishy, and then their job is done. So there's isn't a chance for this to proc like the effect. And really, if you're just only bringing, like carrying over one faction buff, I don't know if that's really like turn the game around. Is it gonna really change the game much? I don't know. Especially for Apex, I don't really think so. And for PvE, I think it's absolutely not useful, mainly because you will be moving your own player phase first, and then there's an enemy phase. So your player phase, whoever's your faction buffer, should be cooling down, cooled down, and you guys should be moving at the same turn. Let's say it's the 4th turn of the faction buff, so that is your last turn of the faction buff. But let's say Chifonio is your faction buff, well, she can faction buff and then you can attack, so you always have your faction buff. So this one is very debatable, but for me, I don't think it's good. I just think there's a replacement out there, which, especially if you're using alternate, using Tito Surge, if you use King's Crown, you can now give buffs to at least one of your ally. Yeah, at least one of your ally, right? Or you can give it to two of your ally, and then you go do your 3C and Suicide. Now, you still had all 4 buffs before you died, but you killed one person already. So at least before you die, you did give your extra 20% damage buff to your ally. And the effect, I have to think, is only plus 10% defense, though. So I don't know if that's very worth it. So for me, it's really not. So okay, so now we have Garb of Fire Walking, which is Egbert special. So HP and magic defense plus 5% when attack and dealt damage. Gain skill range plus 1 and span plus 1 for 1 turn. This one, honestly, is very, very restricted, which means you will probably have to get attacked by AoE. Because if you get attacked by, let's say, a mage, or okay, if you get hit by melee, you're dead. You get hit by assassin, you're dead. So this thing will never proc unless you get hit by a mage, where you barely can survive, or you get hit by AoE. But usually when it comes to PvE, you should have your tank protecting you. So this will probably never proc again unless it's AoE. And I don't know if fixed damage counts. Maybe if you get hit by lava golems, fixed damage, it might be a proc, but that skill range plus 1 and span plus 1, I think is very strong. It procs, but it's only for 1 turn. So I would say effect is very, very restricted. Okay, now we have Farah Q. So someone looked this up for me. So it's like Farah Qua. I think you have to pronounce that ah. So HP is 1%, 5%. When battling units, you have class priority over. Attack increased by an extra 30%, I think, or 20%. So Farah Q. I'll just call her Farah Q, whatever. So you really have to make sure you have Morph. If you don't have Morph, it's not that good. I already explained in the video, so make sure you check it out. And I think this one here is also effect restricted. You need Morph. You also need to have when battling units, you have class of priority. So there's 2 things it's restricted. Okay, so now we have Sarita's Scarf here. So I think Sarita's Scarf is very, very godlike, but there's only one thing, is that after taking action, if no friendly units are within a 2-block radius, restores 20% HP and dispel 1 buff. Debuff. So you have to make sure there's no one next to you and 2-block radius, then it procs. So that one, I think it's really easy to control. But again, if you're using Alhazard, which kind of doesn't do anything because it won't heal your units anyway, so it depends really how you play. So I think godlike, but it depends how you use her. Okay, so now we have Lambdas. Lambdas here is very, very good because again, I think I'm making this video too long. I think it's good because now you can use a skill. For each target damage, there's a 10% chance that the skill cooldown will be reduced by 5. So the more units you hit, the chances of reducing the attack is higher. So I would say this one is very, very godlike, but you have to have as many. You have to hit many units. You have to hit more targets than to have this proc. So now we have Silver Wolf here. This one is a magic defense plus 5%, and which you really don't need for an assassin. And when initiating battle, if you have twice as many buffs as the enemy, you can attack first. So only attacking first is not that strong. And I already explained in the video, this thing is definitely not worth the controllers. There's just so many. Even SR can be equally as good. Okay, now we have Crown of Dreams, which is Grenier's helmet. So magic defense plus 5%, and when you have 7 or more buffs, counter attack damage increases by 50%. The 50% is very, very, very strong. And if you check maybe 2 videos before this one, you will see me using Grenier in Timeless Trail. I think this one has 7 buffs, a little bit too much. But other than that, the counter damage increases by 50%. Is definitely worth getting this if you are a Grenier main. Other than that, the 5% from magic defense is not very high because he doesn't block magic, he doesn't guard magic, and he is very weak against magic. So that 5% is not going to help much. But for that 50%, it makes up, the 50% damage actually makes up, so I think is effect restricted. And last but not least, we have Wind Plume here, which is Illustrious Special. This one's absolutely broken, where you can add magic defense plus 10%. That was whatever, but when on forest, mountain, and grassland terrain, attacks ignore guard, and after battle restore 20% HP. So you're an assassin now, where you can move pretty much the whole map, kill someone or attack someone, and you can restore HP by 20%. So that is very, very strong. Anyway, guys, so this is my tier list. Let me know your opinion. You know, everyone have their different opinion, and let me know yours. And if you enjoy watching these kind of videos, I'll probably make like a SSR or even an SR equipment tier list, or SSR weapon, SSR armor, etc. So anyways, thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you guys next time. Take care.